collections, coin, sports cards, and comic book collections. Detectives had limited information and leads to go on, as the suspect wore gloves and did not leave any fingerprints. There was some surveillance camera that captured images of a subject. He was seen wearing a hooded sweatshirt, dark pants, a baseball cap, and a cross-shoulder style bag. And after reviewing countless hours of video surveillance, the detectives eventually located a camera that captured an image of the subject's face during an attempted burglary. We again got with the media, had that photograph distributed to the public. We put it up in neighborhoods trying to identify the subject, but again, at that time, we did not have any luck. As part of our typical investigations, detectives process a scene for fingerprints, but again, in this case, there were no fingerprints due to him wearing gloves. But we also swabbed for DNA on these type of cases, which was particularly helpful in this one. Eventually, we were able to identify 3 samples taken from 3 different burglaries to be the same male individual. This was submitted to our labs, but unfortunately this process takes time, weeks or months at a time. And when we originally entered his name into the database, we were not able to locate him in CODIS, which is our national DNA database, or our LOTUS, which is a local DNA database. But the detectives nonetheless continue to work hard and try to identify the subjects. We had undercover units assigned to these areas, trying to see if we could catch that subject or catch anybody in the act. But again, we didn't have much luck. And you can see it's a large area on that map. Then on October 2nd, detectives with the Tampa Police Department distributed an alert to other law enforcement agencies. And again, this involved a subject wearing a hoodie, dark gloves, attempting to enter a residence in the New Tampa area. In that particular case, he wasn't able to get inside, but again, they were fortunate and had video surveillance. In that video, the subject was wearing the same hoodie and gloves, in what our detectives immediately recognized that was the same subject that had appeared in our pattern. Through various investigative means, detectives were able to identify a potential subject as Gilberto Vasquez with the date of birth of 4/11/73 as a possible suspect, and you'll see his picture up here. We then set up and began conducting surveillance on Vasquez, but again, we didn't have luck catching him in the act. However, our detectives, through investigative means, were able to follow him and obtain a DNA sample, at which time we sent that to the lab to compare against those 3 samples that we had of the one individual. And fortunately, at that time, the DNA profile came back with a positive match to Gilberto Vasquez at 3 of our burglary scenes. The detectives were able to obtain 3 arrest warrants for burglary of an unoccupied dwelling and grand theft. Unfortunately, before we could execute those warrants, Gilberto fled from Florida. And again, the hard work of these detectives, they kept looking and trying to find where he could be, and found a family member up in Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts. And on November 6th, our detectives contacted the Springfield Police Department, requested their assistance, and within an hour they had located him and arrested him on our warrants. We also learned that he was a suspect in one of their burglaries, again, where he left a DNA item at the scene. So he was ultimately charged in that case. Following that, detectives conducted a number of search warrants, and one on the residence where Vasquez had lived. And while searching the residence, they located numerous property that you'll see here and that we'll get into, but one of those was a PlayStation. And that PlayStation came back stolen to a burglary in the city of Tampa back in July of 18. And in that case, a 63-year-old female woke up to find the suspect in her bedroom taking PlayStation and some money. And again, going back to our concern that something would happen in one of those cases. Currently, our detectives have over 30 residential burglaries that match this same mode of entry, again, through the rear sliding glass door, targeting the same type of property. But we've not been able to link him to all those cases. The approximate amount of property stolen from all these burglaries is over $500,000. We believe he was sending some of that property up north to relatives to have it sold on the illegal market. We also believe he was potentially melting down some of the jewelry. And at this time, you can see we have over 1,500 pieces of different evidence, everything from jewelry, coins, collectibles. There's some additional electronic items. That's where we're asking for you, the media, your help to film this, report on this, post it on your social media, and get these pictures out so we can have victims identify their property. And you can see that there's a number of people behind you that we believe may be owners of this property. And I believe one of the ladies walking in, I saw something on the table immediately that she recognized hers. But we want to, one, get this property back to those people who were victimized, and then develop additional charge on the subject. So if you could assist us with that. Again, our detectives will continue working. They're following up leads, trying to tie this to Massachusetts, see if we have any additional charges for this serial burglar who invaded people's homes and took their property. Again, Sheriff Chronister and I'd like to thank the detectives and supervisors for their hard work on this case. A lot of times these cases can get buried. They have additional cases coming in each day, but these detectives stayed on this case. They knew what a concern it was to us and the community. So I can again commend you guys for the work that you've done. And again, for the media, please help us get this message out. Help us get this property back to the victims and the rightful owners, because they have sacrificed a loss. Thank you. Any
questions?
I see some of these that have price tags on them. Can you kind of explain what we're looking at over there?
And this is Detective Gaither, who's been intimately involved in this investigation, and I'll probably allow him to answer the specific questions.
At this time, we believe they're part of an estate sale, which would explain why they're marked with tags. It's still we're still in the process of getting that confirmed.
Some of these are probably really sentimental items. I'm sure some of these folks back here feel that way. Can you just talk about how you guys feel being able to reunite these folks with these items?
Of course, I had a victim I was talking to a few days ago, and just the joy on her face, the countless hours that we lost, you know, being home or whatever that we put into it. As soon as we can see that smile on their face and just that peace they have from just one item, it just makes it all worth it.
And some of these you can see, you know, maybe fairly heirlooms or something that's passed on generation to generation. There's some school rings. I know we're trying to work through the schools to get those identified, but I'm sure it has a lot of sentimental value to the victims.
Could there be more people connected to this, possibly helping them out?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why we're asking you for help. Hopefully someone will see this. Maybe a close-up shot they'll recognize it and then reach out to us, and we can get their case solved as well.
And they will be following up additional leads because he still is incarcerated in Massachusetts. He'll eventually be extradited down here, but we plan to do further investigation to see who was helping him up north, if they were, and look for, again, potential charges.
You said that there were about 30 burglaries that kind of matched this same pattern of the style, that the way that he broke in, the things he took. How many were you able to positively identify as him?
So right now we have right now 3 absolutely. I have warrants out. 3 absolutely positively identified. That's through DNA. We also have another 5 that we've identified via items found in the house after the search warrant. Back to what the chief was saying about his clothing, we have video from multiple other ones that we strongly believe are going to be him, just based off his clothing style, time of the night he's there, mode of entry. But it's my hope that through the victims coming in and identifying their items, we'll be able to close those cases out as well to positively put him at that scene. So
a total of 8 for sure, but possibly more than 30.
right, we're getting them as early as this morning, finding out new ones, so they're rolling in.
Colonel Lucinski said that there was a burglary in Tampa that kind of matched this, that might also have been from 2016. I mean, is there like a time span of where you're looking or areas?
Well, this could go back from years. Right now, just the known ones go back to 2016. So there could be, I know he's traveled to and from Massachusetts for years now. He's been linked to the area go back 10, 15 years. So right now, just what we have identified go back to about 2016.
So just really quick checking on that, the time frame would be 2016 to as late as July of 2018.
To as late as actually September 2018, I believe, is the most current one we have.
And where was he residing when you finally caught up?
Where he was arrested?
Well, he was arrested in Massachusetts,
Correct.
I believe, but in the area where...
The area of Fowler Avenue, 22nd Street.
Are all of these items, were they all collected here in Tampa or Hillsborough County? Were they, or do we think these are all from local burglaries, or could they be from, here in Massachusetts? Who knows?
It's very possible. Some of these items, like I said, we've identified dating back to a few years, so he's held on to them for a while. They could come back to other cases from outside of his jurisdiction from years ago. Just hopefully we can return all these items to the victims.
Can you discuss maybe the DNA aspect of this case? I was interested, you said that detectives were able to obtain his DNA after him following him around for a while. What do you really need to do that, and how long is DNA valid? How long can you use it for?
Well, I can't answer how long it's valid for. I don't have that answer for you, but the way we obtained it was conducting surveillance on him. We followed him. We were able to watch him discard an item. We were able to recover that item, and we sent that item off for comparison.
Saliva or?
Yes.
Was he just hanging on to these, or were any of these located at pawn shops or any other resale locations?
These were all in the residence. These are all that he was holding on to.
Were there any found in local pawn shops that you know of?
No, we found no history of him pawning stolen items at this time.
And you mentioned that he entered the homes kind of in the same way. What ways was that, just in case there's more victims out there who might not have reported anything?
Normally is either through an open window, a side garage door, or most commonly through a rear sliding glass door.
All right, one more question, and we'll wrap it up. Anyone else?
I have a question. Did they get any of the merchandise, the folks in Massachusetts? I mean, he could have taken, especially some of the more expensive stuff, up to Massachusetts here, rather than brought Massachusetts stuff down here.
Correct. Not at this time, to my understanding, no, they weren't able to find any items on him. But I'm following up. Absolutely, I'll get an answer for you.
And so if these folks don't see their items here today, and for people who might have been affected or think that, this guy could have been in their home and maybe they just weren't contacted for today, what should they do?
Contact me. I'm going to be investigating this well into next year, maybe even further. This is a very large investigation. They can contact me anytime. I'll be glad to help them.
All right, thank you,
All right, thank
everybody.
you,
We
everyone.
appreciate your
you.
help.
Appreciate you very much.
Can we get your name?
I want to look around so we do.
Please don't touch anything. If you do recognize something, well, I'm going to have a detective with you just so that we can stand by with your property. But we're just going to go slowly so that you guys can take